Hey everyone, TarantulaDan here. Just a quick note before this video begins. I really do hope that you enjoy it. This video is more about my top 10 spiders in my collection and the reasons why they are special to me. So it's not just about the actual spiders. A lot of these are stories as to how I've obtained them or some memories associated with them. So I just want you to bear that in mind before you watch the video. With that said, I really hope you enjoy it. Please do let me know what you think in the comments below, and maybe make a drink before you sit down to watch this one. All feedback is greatly appreciated, and with that said, I'll carry on with the rest of the video. Hello everyone, TarantulaDan here. I hope you're doing well today, and welcome to the first official kind of actual video for season 2. I did the introduction video that went up on Saturday, which was received really well, so thank you to everyone for your kind words and comments. It does really mean a lot to me. And yeah, this is going to be the first video in the animal room that isn't an introduction, I guess. So this is actually my second take of this video, only because I spent so long talking about some of the other spiders in this video. I ended up basically having about 50 minutes worth of footage, which is too long, so I'm going to redo it but try and be a little bit sort of quicker with it, I guess, so it's not quite as long. I have a habit of rambling on and telling stories and things. So yeah, the point of this video and the way that it came up is, after the introduction video, I put a post to my Patreon and said to my patrons, how would you like me to do this in regards to what do you want me to talk about? Do you want me to show you the snakes, the lizards, the spiders, the rodents? And the first person to get back in touch with me with a structure of how they would do it was Amy from Pet Rock and Roll, and she sort of said things like tarantulas, snakes, tarantulas, lizards, tarantulas, rodents, tarantulas. And obviously that's because I have greatly, my tarantulas outnumber everything else that I have several times over, and so that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be starting off with the tarantulas. Now I was thinking about maybe doing like the top shelf and then going down to the one below and then the one below. The reason that I'm not going to do that, quite simply, is because this animal room is not final. There will be more shelves going up, there will be things being moved around. Probably going to go for an old world and new world division on the shelves. And so if I start on one shelf and then I move things around, it's going to get sort of confused in the video. So I'm going to do it to make a list and go through spiders in a particular way, shall we say. And I figured a really good way to sort of start off this whole sort of process is the top 10 tarantulas in my collection. And so these are tarantulas that I own. These are not tarantulas that I've had in the past, or you know, that I've had and sort of sold or whatever. These are tarantulas that I own and that are alive right now. It is really hard to pick just 10 tarantulas when you have so many. But all of the ones that I have listed for, you know, several reasons, and I sort of intend to go over those, show you a little bit of footage of the spiders and tell you a little bit about them very quickly as to why they are so high on my list of the ones that I sort of like. So yeah, there's going to be 10 of them. If you are interested in something for a little bit of fun, in a minute feel free to pause the video and write down the 10 spiders that you think will be on this list, and state that it's sort of, you know, pre-watching kind of thing. And then maybe after the video, when you've seen the list, maybe let me know how many you've got right, because I think a lot of people will definitely get a few of the spiders on this list. Obviously, if you're a newcomer to my channel, thank you very much. It does really mean a lot to me. You won't have known what any of these spiders are or why they're special to me, and I hope that this will give you a bit of an insight as to what I like. So that's enough for an introduction. I'm going to get straight on with it, and we're going to kickstart this with number 10. Okay then, so number 10 is the Grammostola pulchra, the Brazilian black tarantula. This is one of my absolute favourites, and short and sweet reason as to why I like this spider so much. It is a truly giant black tarantula, and I don't mean black like a dull black. These are a sort of a matte, like a velvety matte black, but kind of shiny as well. They're a truly beautiful black tarantula. They are big, bulky, long-lived, and they're very sort of docile as far as tarantulas go. These are actually the #1 species of tarantulas that I recommend for beginners. I have a mature male that recently matured, well, back sort of late last year. He matured at the age of 7, I believe it was. So whereas a lot of tarantulas, males will normally mature in 2 to 3 years maybe. 7 is sort of over double of obviously that age, and he's still got plenty of life in him. He's still eating and doing really well. So you can see some footage on the screen of my mature male. That said, I also have another maybe 4-5 slings of G. pulchra. I make a point every single year of buying at least one sling when I'm at shows or whatever, and that way in the future I will hope to have like a steady sort of supply of mature males and for females and things like that for breeding. So yeah, if ever you are thinking I want to get my first tarantula, or if you've already got tarantulas but you've never owned one of these, seek them out. Of course, there are great suppliers that do them, including of course the Spider Shop. Links to them will be in the description of all of my videos anyway. G. pulchra, absolutely best tarantula in the world. I absolutely love them. I would have put them higher on the list, but there are spiders that I love personally for other reasons. So we're going to get on to number 9. So number 9 is a spider that I think many people will have put much higher on my list, and that is the Typhlochilena Celedonia, the Brazilian jeweled tarantula. Now, this particular spider I do not have right now in my animal room, and the reason for that is because she is off breeding. She is off with Martin Lee, so Martin Lee's Tarantulas. There'll be a link to his Facebook in the description as well. He's a really good breeder, really good friend of mine. If any of you have seen the Guatemala excursion that I did back in 2019, I think it was, I got to know Martin an awful lot there. If you've not seen the anything to do with Guatemala, I'll put the link to the playlist or the trailer up on here. Honestly, I'm so proud of that series, that of what I achieved in it. I'm just really happy to share it with everyone. Anyway, Martin Lee's a really good friend of mine, and my Celedonia is with him, and he's breeding them because he had a female and a male, and so my female's gone with him, and we're going to be looking at hopefully breeding them and getting some slings, which would be absolutely wonderful. Back when these first came into the hobby, so to speak, or even technically before then, I was contacted by the Spider Shop, and they said, look Dan, we've got one of these available, do you want it? And so I was like, yeah, of course, I would absolutely love to have one of these spiders. I believe I was one of the first people in the UK, definitely first on YouTube, first in the hobby to get hold of one of these. And so they're very special to me for that, out of a lot of people I was sort of picked to be able to have one sort of straight away. Of course, I did actually end up with 4 of them at one point, which is where I earned the nickname by Francis, who you'll hear about shortly, of TarantulaDan. I don't mind the nickname, it's kind of cute really. So but yeah, I had 4 of them. The cheapest one that I bought, I believe, was about £400. The most expensive one that I bought was £600, and you're talking about a spider that's around about a centimetre. So teeny tiny little slings for that much money is crazy investment. Obviously 3 of them died, 2 got stuck in mulch, and 1 was half eaten by a cricket. So not really very good, but the first one that I ever bought, the female, is the one that's now breeding, and they're just beautiful spiders. They are of course the arboreal trapdoor spider. They used to be in the Avicularia family, and of course they were sort of moved across into their own sort of genus, which is Typhlochilena. There are several of other species in this genus that I would love to get hold of in the future, but that will obviously be as and when they're available, of course. And yeah, they're just wonderful. So yeah, number 9 is T. Celedonia. Okay, then number 8 is the Sommer Ammonia, the Venezuelan sun tiger. Now, the reason that I like this spider so much is this kind of spider is a bit of a link for me. And you see, what happened was about 3 years ago now, in early April, I met up with Francis, which is Invert Kingdom UK. He was my very first patron, or one of my first patrons, and he contacted me to meet up with him one day if I was free, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to. And I went and met up with Francis at McDonald's with Ebony. They were just expecting their first child. I sat down and had a McDonald's with him as back then it was sort of like meeting a fan kind of thing, and we had a really nice McDonald's together. It's quite nice. And at the end of the meeting, he gave me something as a gift, and that was this Sommer Ammonia. And my female is right here behind me in this fief just there. And 3 years later, I still have her. She's doing really well. And what's really nice is that this spider, although to a lot of people it's a sample of Ammonia, but like Francis gave me this as a gift as well as being a patron of mine, and over the last sort of 3 years me and Francis had became incredibly good friends, rather than it being a sort of him being a fan and me being a YouTuber relationship. You know, it's a kind of relationship where like I pop around his house, you know, when we live sort of more local to each other, I pop around his house and you know, go have a cup of tea with him, go and watch some TV, go and look at it, you know, check out his animals. I was invited to his house for his birthday party, and Ebony left to go pick him up and left me and a few other people in the house together. So when he came back, we got to surprise him. I was invited to the gender reveal of their first baby, and I didn't even know him that well. And I was like, yeah, I'd love to do this. And so I went along and got to sort of spend, you know, that moment with him and his family, which was really, really nice. And so the reason that I like this spider so much is because this kind of reminds me of the friendship that I have with Francis. And I mean, as far as the actual spider goes, they are beautiful spiders. Of course, they're a New World hot bite spider, but I mean, they're a beautiful spider, really nice arboreal, beautiful colours, beautiful markings. Not one for beginners, but if you've got a bit of experience with tarantulas, then this is one I really do recommend that you get. And but yeah, for me, the reason I like this is because it always reminds me of, you know, this guy from YouTube that was messaging me and was like, hey, do you want to come and have a McDonald's with me? I was like, yeah, that'd be great. And now we're just really, really good friends. So yeah, I know that talk was more about my relationship with Francis than the spider, but that spider is, you know, the first time that I ever met him is when I had that spider, and that's why that spider means so much to me. Okay then, so we're in at number 7 now. By the way, I'd like to just point out at this point that these are in absolutely no particular order. So, you know, it's just me thinking, apart from number 1 and 2, they're very, very special. For the reasons that, you know, many of you are like, I know what number 1 is now. In fact, if you know what number 1 is now, write down in the comments, be like, number 1 is, and then write it. I'm going to guarantee that most people know what number 1 spider is, but the rest of them are in no particular order. I'm just going through my top 10, just to make that clear. So yeah, continuing with number 7, this is the Poco Theria Hanumabila Samika. Bit of a mouthful, one that a lot of people kind of struggle with for some reason. I don't actually know what the common name for this spider is. I don't even know if it even has one. As for why I like this spider, when you think of Poco Theria, a lot of people will talk about the, you know, the P. metallicas or the rufilatas that are obviously absolutely beautiful. Of course, you know, you got your Cusco Highlands and your lowlands, which are really attractive as well. The Hanumabila Samika looks more like a kind of a standard P. regalis, and let's be honest, P. regalis are like probably the cheapest pokies that you can get. You know, you can get them for a $5 sling, you know, online or at shows kind of thing, even less than that sometimes. So why do I like the Hanumabila so much? And the reason for that is I received mine several years ago, and I just fell in love with the temperament of this spider. It's always out, it's always active, it's a really, really good eater, and I think it's one of the spiders that when I saw them for sale several years ago, quite a few people that I spoke to were like, oh, I'm not bothered about that. Everyone was going for, like I said, the metallicas and the rufilatas and mirandas and other things, because they just weren't that bothered by this. And what's a shame when it comes to this particular spider, back in 2020, I remember the week before the first lockdown, I went to the BTS lectures. I talk about the BTS as a whole in another video, but definitely something that you should check out, links in the description. At the BTS lectures in 2020, there was a talk by, I believe it was Andrew Smith, about Hanumabila Samika, and they are now extinct in the wild, which is one of those things where a lot of people will think, oh well, it's just a spider, you know, why do you care so much? But you know, to someone that doesn't like spiders, it's just a spider. But if you like spiders, then it's a real shame that, you know, that this has happened. And basically they were from this one particular area, and they were trying to campaign to say, you know, don't destroy the trees here kind of thing, there's a rare spider. And they said, no, there's loads of them around, and we're showing, comparing them to like P. regalis. And of course, P. regalis and Hanumabila are separate. And so they sort of leveled this area, built like a big hotel complex. That's it. They're gone. And so the only ones that are in the hobby now, I mean, that's it. It's up to those of us that have them to try and breed them and, at least get the numbers up in captivity. And that is why it's really important that those of us that do keep tarantulas and other exotic animals, that we do so, and we do it sustainably and legally. People that go out and sort of poach, and if you're on Facebook and things, you'll know about sort of crimes that go on with sort of smuggling spiders. Not really a fan of that, and I tend to not use companies and things that are involved with that. As Gar reads from Arachnotube, it's legal and sustainable. That is the way to go forward with tarantulas. But yeah, the fact that this spider is now extinct in the wild, and that I have a really beautiful example of a female, that's why I love this spider. And it's one that a lot of people would probably look at and go, well, it's just like a regalis. But when you look at the situation with the spider and how dire it is for it, it's a shame, and I feel very lucky to own one. Okay then, so number 6 is something that is in my collection, is a little bit more unusual, which is why it's on this list, I think. And that is the T species Cusco. So the story for this spider as to why I like it is, when I first had it, obviously only sort of a small sling, I had it, and I also had some Pamphobetus at the time, and I had been doing some rehousings, and they were getting the labels mixed up, and then I thought that one of the Cuscos, my Cusco, had died, and it wasn't even one of the Pamphobetus had died, but I didn't realise this because the labels were mixed up. And I continued to sort of like care for this spider and feed it, but I never saw it. It was in the burrow. I didn't see it for like literally like a year, 2 years, so it's stupid lad. And so what happened was, when I actually saw the spider, and I was like, oh, that needs to be rehoused. So I took it out to do the actual rehousing, and I was like, that's not a Pamphobetus, because they're so distinguishable. Had the look and realised that it was actually the Cusco, the sort of I obviously got it mixed up, and I just hadn't seen it for ages. And so I have this spider that not many people seem to have them. Anytime that I go online or I'm looking at shows and things, I always look out for them, and I have never seen them available. They're one of the spiders that I think, when they are available, people just sort of grab them straight up. Obviously, if I see any in the future, I will definitely be looking to get them. And if anyone has one, then please let me know in the comments below, because I'd love to try and get a network of people that have these spiders, just in case, in the future when, I'm able to breed mine, I have people to contact to do so. Okay then, so we're now at the halfway point. So I'd like to, we're wondering to you, how many have you got right if you guessed earlier? I'm quite interested to see who got the number 6 especially. Obviously there's 5 left, and I'm definitely curious to know how many of you will get these 5. So we're going to get straight into number 5 now. And number 5 is my Poco Theria regalis, the Indian ornamental. And I spoke about the Poco Theria not long ago when talking about the Hanumabila Samika. However, my female P. regalis is just an absolute babe, and I can say that very confidently. I love this spider. It is absolutely wonderful. Now, right now she is hiding, but I do have plenty of footage of her, and I can get some more of her. This spider is a big spider. Her last molt, I believe it was just shy of 8 inches, her last molt, and she looks to have grown considerably. The reason that I like this spider, one, is that she just seems massive even for a for a regalis. Honestly, she is just massive, which is one of the reasons I like her. She is actually my 2nd largest tarantula in the whole of my collection, second only to number 1, which again, people are like, I know exactly what this is now. The reason that I like this spider though is the temperament of her. There's been a few times when I have been doing maintenance or something like that, I have to open up, and she literally just sort of crawls around at her own pace. She doesn't bolt. She has never once been defensive with me. She's never stunning, yeah, any kind of striking. She eats pretty much every single time, with the exception of when she's obviously going into pre-molt, which is fairly standard for spiders, I know, but the fact that I know that I can feed her, sometimes I'll feed her 2 or even 3 sort of locusts at a time, or one very large hisser, you know, the adult hissers. She'll take down those without any problems. Her legs are that big, she would sort of like envelop a cage over them, and they can't, these massive hissers can't even touch the floor. So if you know how big the adult hissers get, that gives you an idea as to how big this spider is. And she's just a really gentle, nice example of a Poco Theria. Now, of course, I'm saying this, I'm not encouraging anyone at all. Do not start handling Poco Theria or putting your fingers near them. That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is that when I have to feed them, or if I have to water, if I open the enclosure up and she's on the side, she doesn't try and bolt out. She gives me no grief. She'll stay there, let me do what I've got to do. Always using tweezers to do maintenance, and she'll just sort of sit there, let me do what I've got to do without any problems. And one of my favourite things about her is when I did some pairing of her. I had this male from a friend, and this male was like drumming like mad, and then she would drum. But I think because how big she was, this is like 2 years ago, she's molted since then, she was sort of like walking towards a male, and this male was drumming and then was like going around the outside of the enclosure, and she was sort of following him, and eventually, you know, he sort of like, he was really interested in her, like I say, he kept doing his drumming and things, but he would not actually sort of make that connection, and in the end she got bored and just sort of left and went back into a burrow. She's had enough of him. So she's just a really nice spider, and hopefully you've seen the footage on the screen. I really hope that you'll agree with me. Again, with the Regalis, they are probably one of, if not the cheapest species of Poco Theria to collect. They are probably the most readily available species of Poco Theria. They are the most plain looking, so to speak, again, compared to things like your Metallicas and your Regalis, even your Mirandas, and of course your Highlands and your Lowlands. Very similar to, say the Hanuma, but I just love her. She's just a truly wonderful spider, and I'll be gutted when anything happens to her, if it does, yeah, she really is just one of the spiders that I just absolutely love. Again, if you've got a little bit of experience with fast spiders, or you've had some experience with old worlds, and you've not owned a P. Regalis, I do recommend them if you've got a bit of experience behind you, because they are just absolutely wonderful to keep. Okay, number 4, this spider is honestly one of my favourite spiders. This is also one of my longest owned spiders. So I've had this spider for about 8 years now, maybe even 9 years. It is a female, and it is the Palma Emilia. I absolutely love this spider, and I remember I had her from a YouTuber called Spider-Man, Alan Hicken, and years and years ago, me and Alan, we used to go to shows together, and we were used to speak to each other an awful lot, like at least a lot more than what we do now. And I remember he actually had, we used to do like birthday gifts and things. And Alan Hicken was actually my very first subscriber on YouTube, which is a nice little, thing to remember, I guess. We used to do little gifts to each other. I used to send him spiders in the post, and then he'd send me things, and it was a really good friendship that we had. And the one day he said, "Oh, I've got some of these spiders. Do you want to, would you like them?" And there were 4 of them. There was B. Emilia, B. Eratum, B. Bomai, and Classy. The Classy and Bomai sadly didn't make it. And then actually the Eratum as well, that died when it was about 2.5, 3 inches, and I remember I was totally gutted. And so this one female spider that I still have to this day, say 8 or 9 years, however long it's been, I still have her, and she's absolutely wonderful. Another little story of this spider is she actually does have a name, and I always forget this. And when I did the first take of this video, which I had to cut down because it was literally nearly an hour long because I was rambling so much. But what happened was I was doing a lot of videos of her, and there was a lady from the Philippines called Ella, and every single video that I did of my spiders, especially the Emilia, she was always asking for more content of the Emilia, asking how the Emilia was. She was always asking me if I was able to breed her, if I could send some of these Brachypelma out to the Philippines because they can't get them out there. And obviously I've never been able to do that. But I actually called her Ella after this subscriber from the Philippines, who I've not spoke to for probably 6 or 7 years or something like that. So if you're watching this, I do hope that you're doing well. But yeah, I mean, that's another nice little story of just sort of, you know, the interactions I used to have with, you know, my YouTube sort of subscribers back when I was a smaller channel. And it's those like little stories that are the ones that sort of make that spider memorable, not just because of how much I love this spider and how beautiful she is, but just the connections again to Alan Hickin, my early days of YouTubing, going to the first BTS, you know, back in the days of when my hair was like all the way down to here. I think there might have a photo, I might sort of pop it up on the screen if I've got it, and you can have a look at me with massively long hair. It's a lot of the spiders I've had for sort of over the last sort of decade or so, approaching a decade. It's all the stories and things that have happened that make, whenever I think of that spider, I always think, oh yeah, like this happened. And so that's why I really like that spider. And yeah, shout out to the Spider-Man for her. I still have her. And Alan, I hope you're doing well, and thank you actually for contacting me recently with all my troubles going on. It means a lot. And yeah, I hope you're doing well. Okay then, so we're now down to the last 3 tarantulas. So you're probably scratching your heads thinking, right, what can be number 3? Like, we know what number 1 is. Yeah, everyone's like, yeah, we know what number 1 is, everyone knows. What is number 3? Number 3 is the Brachypelma auratum. I absolutely love this spider, and again, as I just said when talking about the Emilia, I had an auratum from Alan Hickin, which sadly died after, we say she was like, you know, a few inches long, a few inches in size, and so I had a bad molt, and so I lost her. And I remember I was really gutted. I was not able to get one for absolutely ages, and then I managed to find a adult female, which is the one that I now have. And I actually have not a mature male, I have a male that was given to me by a patron of mine, probably one of my longest serving patrons and one of my highest tier patrons, which is Leyland. He gave me a couple of years ago 2 males at the Southern Invert Show, and it was a B. auratum and a B. albiceps, and he was like, oh yeah, they're not mature yet, but they're due to mature like any day now. Both of them have molted since then, and neither of them are mature, but I do still have them. So, you know, and Leyland obviously knows this. Massively frustrating waiting for these spiders. So yeah, waiting for these 2 males to mature is one experience of, especially with the auratum, that I'm waiting for, because I would love to breed them. I was absolutely gutted when I lost that first one, and since then I'd always wanted to replace that one that I'd lost. And it took me years to be able to find one available. That's, yeah, the actual auratum slings are so hard to come by. But the other reason that I absolutely love this spider, again, it's for me, it's when I think about this spider, what was I doing, what have I done, who was I talking to, kind of thing. And I remember the unboxing video for the B. auratum, which if you haven't seen it, if you are one of the new subscribers, a huge thank you to you for subscribing. If you watched it this far and you haven't subscribed already, I do recommend, please do subscribe, like, leave me a comment and share my content. It does really help me out. One of the best videos that you'll see on YouTube ever, like period, is the unboxing of the big ass crab. When I did things for like rewind videos and my total rewind video, everyone was saying big ass crab, big ass crab, big ass crab. And in this video I unboxed the auratum, which I knew I was expecting, and Lee from the spider shop included a little gift in there for me. And when doing this unboxing, we had some beetles, I say the auratum, I think we had some millipedes as well. I think a couple of other spiders. And then inside this box was this massive, and I mean massive crab, big Cameroon mud crab, and it was crawling all over the floor, and I had to put it in a box that we had it shipped in, and weigh it down with my laptop so this crab couldn't escape. Massively popular thing on my channel. Everyone loved it pretty much. I had it for ages, probably like a year or 2 I think, before it sadly died. And yeah, so whenever I think of the auratum, I think about that unboxing video, and what made that unboxing video for me was my friend Dan. So it's you know, as well as being a truly beautiful spider, and they are really, really beautiful spiders. Any Brachypelma I recommend for beginners, like highly. You know, obviously you got your G. pulchra, which is number 10. Anything from Brachypelma or Brachypelma pubescens, they're another great species. I recommend those for beginners. I just love these spiders, and like I say, that's one of the reasons that I think that these particular ones are my top 10. Is not so much just because of maybe how the spider acts or behaves, it's more for how, you know, how they are for me, like what I remember as far as dealing with them, memories of people and experiences and things. And whenever I think about that spider, I always think about unboxing the big ass crab, and of course spending time with one of my best friends, which is Daniel Liddell, who of course I went to Africa with him with Mad Mongoose. You know, I mean, she's just a really, really wonderful spider, and even now her temperament is absolutely fantastic, really, really good eater, and of course I am hoping that I'll be able to breed her in the very, very near future. So, I mean, you can take a look at her, she's just an absolutely beautiful spider. I just really wish that they were a bit more readily available in the hobby. Okay then, so number 2 now. Again, this one I'd be very surprised if anyone gets this, but there is a reason as to why I like this spider so much. And this is a spider that many people have either never heard of or they would like to get but they can't get, and that is the Apana Peninsula. Truly beautiful spider. They almost look plain from a distance, but they've got a very like a olivey, greeny, brown kind of colour. And the one that I have is truly special in that she is, she's very, as far as I'm concerned, she's probably the rarest spider in my collection. I mean, I could have put maybe Sarbar Blue at number 2, because I do also love that and everything that, you know, that came with the Sarbar Blue. You know, I've got an amazing story about that spider, but with the Peninsula, what makes this spider so special for me is that, as far as I'm aware, I have the only female in the hobby. Yeah, it's mine. I do not know of anyone in the UK that has one of these spiders. I don't know of anyone. I know one person in Europe with a male, and sadly the problem is that I don't really want to part with my female, and I don't think they want to part with their male, and so we obviously are not going to be able to sort of breed them, kind of thing. They are not available in the hobby, you do not see them for sale. And at the same lectures that I referenced earlier on, back in 2020, Michael Jacoby actually did a talk about Apana, and he did a talk about all the different species and things. And what was really, really cool is, like I say, he did this talk and he absolutely loves them. He was showing us sort of where they're from and, you know, all the different habitats of them and things. And after the talk, like as in like, you know, a day or two later, I think it was, I actually messaged Michael Jacoby on Instagram and just sort of said, look, you know, if I've got the transcript, I'll put it on screen so you can have a look. But basically, I explained that I had a female, and he basically expressed that he was sad that I had it. Not that I had done anything wrong, kind of thing, but I had managed to get hold of this spider, which had obviously been sort of taken from the wild, and which I wasn't exactly aware, kind of thing, because she is essentially, as far as I know, and I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I apologise, but to my knowledge, she is the only female tarantula of this species in the hobby, and so that makes her massively unique, and also a bit of a stress, because I'm constantly worried about anything bad happening to her for that reason, because it's not the kind of spider where I can contact someone and get another one. Like, this is it. I managed to get hold of this spider, but I would never be able to replace her, ever, I don't think. At least not in the sort of foreseeable future. And obviously I can't breed, and so I need to sort of make sure I can keep her alive, because in the event that someone says to me, oh Dan, actually I've got a mature male, then perfect, you know. Whilst talking about this spider, it's a really good opportunity for me to talk about a particular patron of mine that I really need to, you know, give a huge shout out to for their help and support, and that is Conrad. Conrad is basically my hoist patron, and the reason that I want to mention him here is because Conrad actually collects Apana Palma. They're his favourite genus in, like, you know, the whole wide world kind of thing. And I know that this is one that sadly I don't believe that you have. I know you have an awful lot of them, but not this one. If you do, please let me know. But you know, I'm not going to hold my breath on that. And yeah, so Conrad, if you're watching this, which I'm sure you will be, I would love for you to pick a name for my female, as you are such a fan of the Apana Palma and my highest patron. I figured that'd be quite nice that you can sort of pick the name of this spider, and you know, that can be a little something for you, I guess. So that is the Apana Palma Peninsula, and is, as far as I'm concerned, probably the rarest spider in my collection. Like I say, I'm pretty sure it's the only female in the UK. Might even be the only female in the whole of Europe that exists in the hobby, so to speak. Like I say, if any of you have one of these or know of someone with one, then please let me know. I'd love to try and find more keepers of this amazing spider. Okay then, number one. Many of you are, you know, you'll know what number one is. If you've been a long time subscriber of my channel, then you'll know exactly what this is. If you don't, I'm going to explain very simply why this spider is so high on the list. This spider is a Lasiodora parahybana. It's the Brazilian salmon pink bird eater. This one is called Zelda, after my favourite video game series. And the reason that this spider is so special, one, it is officially now my oldest tarantula. She was my first tarantula. I bought a couple of adults. I had a G. porteri for my first tarantula. I also had you know, Tarantulas marinus, Poco, Theria, rufulata, and a few other sort of spiders as sort of juveniles, adults. But the first spider that I ever bought as a sling, and by sling it's a spiderling or baby spider, and it was probably about this kind of size, so we're talking literally just a few millimeters. It was, of course, this spider, and I still have her now. All the other spiders you know, matured and died, which is to be expected with males, and so this is the first sling I ever bought. It's the first spider I ever raised from a sling. It is the oldest tarantula that I've had in my care. It's the one that I've learned the most from observing her grow from, say, this tiny sling into you know, this massive, huge spider that that I now have. She has enabled me to do some amazing content. I have paired her successfully several times. Of course, I had the urticating hair reaction video because I'm massively allergic to this tarantula, and even with that, I still I just love this spider. She is a big, bulky bird eater. She's always out on display. She is an amazing eater, taking down sort of several prey items at a time when I choose to feed her a little bit more to give her a bit of a, you know, good feed. She is the spider that most people on my channel, if you've been watching for the longest, will know of. She's the one that I love showing. I have merchandise of her. She's the one spider that people always ask about, how is Zelda? And also going back to Conrad, which is the gentleman who will hopefully be naming my Peninsula for me. What was a really wonderful moment that I had with him at the lectures back in 2020, yeah, before COVID. He flew over from Poland to come and join me in the lectures. I said to him, if you come over from Poland to join the BTS lectures, please, yeah, you can join me and sort of stay with me for the weekend. And he did. By himself, he came over, and so I wanted to spend a bit of time with him, and we went out for some food and had some drinks, and I had a really good time. I believe he did as well. And when he comes to the UK, I've said to him he's welcome to come and stay with me in my house, and I will drive him to shows and try and look after him for the support that he's given me. And what's really amazing that he did for me was he had this wallet made for me, handmade. It's a leather wallet, and on the one side of it, it has my YouTube logo, which is the Huntsman. On the back of it, he had a picture, if you will, like sort of hand stamped into the leather of my Blastido Power Hibana with Zelda down the side. That's the name of the spider. She has just been with me through everything. She is the spider that I've, like I said, apart from having the longest, every spider that I've had since then, every reptile I've had since then, every show that I've been to, every person I've met through the hobby, everything I have done whilst I've had her. She has literally been with me through the entire of my sort of tarantula keeping collection from the very beginning till present. Obviously I still have her, actually waiting on an egg sac from her at the moment, so fingers crossed for that. That would be absolutely amazing. It's no surprise that she is #1. I actually paid 99 pence for her as a sling, and I still have her very first molt packed away somewhere in storage. Her first molt that I had in her care, I put into like a little teeny tiny container. I still have that today. I actually have a molt of hers that I took to my workplace to show customers when we sell LP slings. And they say, oh, how big do they get? And I go, oh, they're like this big. And they're like, no, no, they're not. So I'm like, no, no, this is my spider's last molt. This is her last molt. And they're like, wow, they get huge. And it's no surprise that she's a #1. Absolutely amazing species. So yeah, no surprise there. And I hope that, you know, it's been sort of somewhat informative to listen to me talking about these spiders. What I'd like to know is, do you have a spider like this yourself? What is your longest, you know, the spider you've had for the longest in your collection, or what's the top 10 spiders that you have in your collection? If you are a YouTuber, feel free to do this as like a video response, I guess. I'm not talking species, but which spiders do you have that maybe give you the most stories? Which ones do you enjoy keeping personally for reasons that, you know, you have connections to other people and things? I'd love to hear it. So yeah, if you've watched all of this video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. I really hope that you've enjoyed it. Hope you've enjoyed looking at the content. I have a hair or an eyelash in my eye. Really annoying. Sorry about that. So as always, let me know what you think of this down in the comments below. I'll really appreciate it. And of course, if you're able to, feel free to share any of my content. There will be some cards that you can click and have a look at some of those videos and links that I think you might enjoy. And there'll also be some annotations at the end of the video to videos, and also my Patreon. If you feel like you're able to support me, that would be greatly appreciated. If not, just subscribing and liking and commenting on my videos really helps me. And with that said, I hope you look forward to the next video, which will be a video on my lizards will be next. And then after the lizards, I'll be following up with the snakes. There's a reason I've got to delay the snake video, and you'll find out why in just a few days. So yeah, thanks for watching everyone, take care, and it's really glad to be back. So take care, and I'll see you soon in the next video.